Hey parents, a really important factor for your children and teens having good mental health is to get them off their electronics. Monitor their electronic use. I see so many parents who just give the phone over or the electronics over, and then they don't monitor it, and it's a big mistake. It's a mistake on your part for you being able to connect with your children, but even more so, it's really detrimental to your children. So if you have already given your children free reign of their electronics, then it's going to be a little challenging to rein it in, because trying to get that power back is a little tricky, which I'll give you some tips here. But even more so if you are a parent who has not gotten your child a phone yet, maybe you have young kids and you're gonna get them one day, then I will be sharing some things that will really be helpful to you. So wherever you're at on the electronic thing. But here's the thing. I have some really great tips that work. They work really well, because believe me, I've got 2 children that are teenagers and they love being on electronics. So these things really do help and they work. So first of all, set a specific time limit. So right now we are in full swing of summer, and my kids want to be on their electronics all day long. They want their phone in their possession all day long. And if we allow that, then we're not going to see our kids. They're not going to talk to us. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. And you got to get those electronics back. And guess what happens? Magic. They start coming out of their bedrooms. They start saying, "Hey, Mom," telling you stories. It's really beautiful. Okay. So start to set a time limit, and you're going to have to figure out what that is for you, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, I don't know. Right. But once you agree on a time limit with your kids, then one that you feel is reasonable, and you let that be known to them and make it very clear. Then once you set that, then you allow them to, you give them options. They need options instead of you just being like, "Hey, this is the way it is," and you have nothing to say about it. They don't like that. They want to feel respected. They want to feel like they have some choices. So I was walking out of a store the other day, and I thought it was so funny because I had said to both of my teenagers, "Hey, you each have an hour left of tech time. Do you want that now? Do you want to keep your phones because the clock is ticking, or do you want it later?" And they both hurried and grabbed their phones out of their pockets and handed me their phones. And a mom witnessed this that was walking behind us. And she was in awe. She was like, "What? That's crazy. How did you do that?" Like I did some big magic trick, right? And I didn't sit there and like tell her all the things in the middle of us walking to our cars, but I did say to her, "Hey, remember, you're the mom. You've got all the power. If you've got the car keys in the wallet, you've got the power." So I think we sometimes need to remember that and remind each other of that. But that's one thing is give them a time limit, and then let them have reasonable times that they're on that phone. Now, I will tell you, when I go to bed, I have the phones in my possession. I don't want them up all night on their phones without me being able to monitor it. I'm taking their phones. There are times when I'm like, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to hit the pillow. And so I'm like, "Hey," and this is where my next tip comes in. It's so good. Okay. Instead of going and saying, "Give me your phone," right? You're going to get some pushback. You're going to get a big fight. But if you give them just give them a little warning. So if you say, it's such a simple tip, but it works wonders. If you go in and say, "Hey, honey, I am so tired. I'm going to bed. So you got 5 minutes." So now they have the option to be able to, they now mentally can prepare for that. And they go, "Okay, so I'm going to text my friends. I'm going to tell my friends good night. I'm going to wrap up my video game or whatever they're in the middle of doing. You give them a little heads up and it works wonders. Okay, I'll be giving you some more tips, but sending you lots of love. We gotta stick together. And if you have tips, tell us. Write them in the comments.